Hello, property nomads. Hope you're doing well. Energy companies, yes, I know I've got a big bugbear against them, but we've got the good and the bad of energy companies today. And we'll start with the good first, and I'm not always very positive about energy companies, but I will give them credit for this, and this is Octopus Energy, who are going to repay the 3 billion owed to taxpayers for the bulb rescue a few years ago. So that's what the headline says. Basically, what happened was, or you're probably familiar with this, but if you're not in the UK, you're probably not familiar with this. So bulb was basically extinct, shall we say, in 2021. They went underwater, and Octopus rescued them as part of a package. A lot of people at the time thought it was just a massive bailout of Bulb, the energy company, which in effect it was, and that totaled up to about £3 million. So what the government had to do was they had to temporarily nationalize Bulb. Octopus then took them over, and whatever's been agreed in the background has been agreed in the background, and that was nearly £3 billion. And there's a lot of uproar about that at the time. Again, a lot of people in the UK are not big fans of energy companies for a multitude of reasons that we've covered before on the channel. But Octopus seemingly are on track, or they have said that they will have this paid off by the end of the year. So again, I don't always give energy companies credit, and that's really good. This is really good because it's, these are taxpayers' funds that bailed out Bulb or helped Bulb become nationalised, and Octopus took them over. So the fact they're on track to pay that back, so the taxpayers aren't out of pocket, I think that's good. It's interesting that there's not been a lot of news about this particular article. I thought there'd be a lot more said about this. As I say, I'm not a massive fan of energy companies, but credit where credit is due, and they have done well here, I think, by actually paying this back. According to this article from the BBC, they've already begun paying back the sum. It expects it all to be paid back in September. That'll be good. I do like the fact that it says it's in a boost to whoever wins the general election in 2 weeks' time. If that's not a Labour majority, then I don't know what's going on, just because of all the way the polls are and so forth. I do like this line as well. Politicians have raised concerns that extra costs could be added to the customers' bills when millions have been struggling. Well, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't just say that nationalising the company is going to add all of that to bills. Maybe it could be to do with energy independence. It could be to do with government decisions that were made after Russia decided to attack Ukraine. It could be amongst all of that stuff. But no, of course, it's the nationalising the Bulb that's really going to push people over the edge here. The article just goes on to talk about a bit more about the background. We don't need to cover all of that. The key thing is here, as per the headline, that the £3 billion of taxpayers' cash that was used to nationalise Bulb and for then Octopus to rescue them, that looks like that's going to be paid back by the end of the year. So I say big thumbs up there to Octopus. Well done. Congratulations. Absolutely brilliant. Now we'll go to the ugly of companies, and this is Scottish and Southern Electric, or Scottish and Southern Energy. I forgot what it stands for. They had a wind farm, and that's going to be fined a record £33 million for pushing up household bills. So we get all these bastions of wind farms, solar farms, and they're great for the planet, blah, 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 blah. But even then, it seems like they can still screw the household bill payer. Let's read on. So a wind farm owned by energy giant SSE is to pay a record fine to the energy regulator because it overcharged customers. So the wind farm, which is based in Scotland, it's agreed to take a hit of £33 million because it breached part of its license conditions. So what has it done? Well, it's breached one of its license rules by charging excessive prices to cut its power output when needed to prevent the national grid being overloaded. As a result of that, it pushed up costs for consumers, for households and businesses in this case. This is what Ofgem said. So that's just let that sink in for a little bit. So wind farm, SSE, that has probably been subsidised, I imagine. I could be wrong. Mate, let's just say it's been subsidised by Westminster. Has been fined £33 million for excessively charging customers, or sorry, by charging excessive prices to cut its power output when needed to prevent the grid being overloaded. And as a result of that, it pushed up costs for household bill payers, businesses, etc. So this goes to a bit of an interesting question, that it seems to me that the national grid structure that we have isn't suitable for all this electric. We still get warnings, actually, in England, especially whenever England are playing a football game or maybe a rugby game, more than likely football, that at half-time, what happens, half-time whistle blows, what most people will do is go and put the kettle on, have a cup of tea. We still get warnings in 2024 about that, because if everyone's putting on the kettle at the same time, that could overload the grid and kaput, and we can have a blackout. It amazes me that can still happen in 2024. It seems to me that we don't have the right infrastructure in the grid here. So yeah, that's issue number one. So all these wind farms, solar farms that are being bought in and being built, etc., they should be dealt with. That should be upgraded. That infrastructure should be upgraded 100%. What's not going to help is when you do get articles like this, and I don't ever really recall seeing this in mainstream media, is that this wind farm and the people running this have screwed over the household bill payer. It just seems absolutely mad. So this is the good and the bad and the ugly, I think, of energy companies. I appreciate there's probably no one situation fits all. I get that. And of course, in their defense, the wind farm company has described the issue as, and I quote, wholly unintentional. Of course, 100%. We'll put links to those articles so you can read them for yourselves. So it seems like sometimes you're just not able to win in these situations. Again, I'll go back and I'll credit Octopus and say hats off to them. And then you look at this wind farm owned by SSE and you have to say naughty, naughty. Because all these people will want us to move to all this solar and all this wind energy. Again, there's a part of that for the world, or those energy sources do have a role to play. I accept that, but they're not baseload energy. You need the baseload energy first. You need your coal, oil, gas, ideally nuclear, because it's the cleanest and greenest and meanest of the lot. Now, until you've got that in place, all the wind and all the solar that you're creating is a bit null and void, to be fair. But it seems at present that people just aren't really paying any attention to that. And we need to upgrade the national grid as well, because again, we still get warnings about turning the kettle on in 2024. And I'm sure going back to Octopus, and maybe your energy supplier has had similar, where we have been incentivized to either use electricity at certain times or not use electricity at certain times in order to avoid overloading the grid. Again, I argue this should not be happening in the UK in 2024 to even have suggestions like that. We should have a lot better infrastructure when it comes down to energy. But as we've done in a lot of videos before, and probably in many more videos coming up, we just don't have that energy independence. We do not have that energy security. And we need to work harder on that, but we need to work smarter as well, because all the things that are happening at the moment are negatively impacting that market, and they will continue to do so moving forward. So it's a bit of a shame, to be fair with you. Anyway, that being said, two small favors to ask. Number one, please subscribe to the video. Please subscribe. My words have been so off in this video, it's unbelievable. Please subscribe to the channel. That'd be absolutely superb. We're seeing a nice uptake in numbers. And also, secondly, please do tell as many people as you can about Property Nomads YouTube channel. It's growing quite nicely, and it's all thanks to you liking, subscribing, and sharing with everyone else. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.